Well, for today, we're going to be doing a one review episode for today. Now, I apologize because I initially had this planned out in somewhat fashion, but unfortunately, things didn't go according to my way. So, due to the fact, I decided just to review day two of Pro Wrestling Noah's round robin tournament, the N-1 victory. Now, keep in mind, we already have some wrestlers that received their first 2 points. We're not going to go through the whole thing. Not a lot of the wrestlers have been already been signed because we know recently Ozawa was in fact most likely will be out of the tournament. Maybe they're trying to rearrange it. I don't know, but we'll see how things will go on this. So this is going to be our only review on this one, and then of course we have some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough of the jibber jabbers. Let's get to it. So, as I said before, it's our one review only. So, let's get started with Pro Wrestling Noah. Okay, Pro Wrestling Noah. The N-1 victory, we are now in day two, and this happened, of course, on September 11th, I believe. Yes. Now, if you guys are new to the channel, if you are not familiarized with this tournament, this is a round robin tournament where, of course, you win points in order to advance. Now, of course, this is similar to the G1 Climax if you guys are fans of the New Japan promotion, and you probably get the idea. You win a match by gaining 2 points, you get 0 points by not winning a match, but in the situation of a double countout or a time limit draw, you get 1 point each. And of course, the winner gets a shot of the GHC Heavyweight Championship, which currently is in the possession of Kenta. Now, many of you may ask, what if the champion wins? Well, the champion will get to call out his, opponent that he will face. So I'm not sure when that match could happen, but we're in the early stages. As we go, we'll find out. Now, in this particular event, there is, of course, this event was in Okayama, in case anybody asked. Don't remember the name of the venue, but yes. There are some matches that are non-tournament, so we'll start with those. The first one we have the members of All Rebellion, Kai Fujimura, Alejandro. They team up with Suji Kotoge. They take on Dragonbane and his brother Alpha Wolf. They team up with Junta Miyawaki. So this is like the bit of the battle of the junior heavyweights, in case anybody asks. So yeah, that tells it right there. But wasn't too sure where this is gonna go. But in the end, it was Miyawaki that was able to pick up the win by pinning Fujimura. And what's interesting that these two guys are in fact, got in the post match. They were beating the crap out of each other. So basically, it's like, what the hell, you know what I mean? So that's how things were going. Now our next match, well, this one's a very interesting one. We have Black Mensuri teaming up with Amasuke. They take on Daiki Odashima and Daiki Inaba. But here's the best part. Inaba was able to defeat Black Mensuri in 22 seconds after, of course, spearing him. And just like that. But of course, like any other match, if you felt like this match was way too short, like it's unfair, you know you're going to complain in the post-match. You know you're going to bitch about it, and you want the match to restart, which eventually it did. So it went a bit more longer like any other usual. But the result was still the same because it was, once again, Inaba that walked away with the win when he submitted Black Mensuri. So I got to ask, if Mensuri is going to bitch about it? Well, nope, he did not do any of that. So thank God. Now, let's jump in with the tournament matches only. We've got 6 of them, but I'll explain what block is what. The first match is part of the B block. We have Ricky Knight Jr. taking on Jack Morris. Now, these two gentlemen, for many of you know or been aware, these two have already picked up their first 2 points. But the obvious question many of us would ask in this type of scenario, who will be going up ahead of them? And that was a very trick question. Now, of course, Ricky Knight Jr. pulled off a big upset when he defeated Keno in day 1. But Jack Morris, I have to say, he is a wrestler who knows what he's doing since he's been coming to Noah. But he was able to defeat RKJ when he applied, of course, a Tiger Driver. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. So basically, Jack Morrison gained 2 points. And as this moment forward, he's going to be undefeated. So we'll see how things will progress with him. But as for Ricky Knight Jr., he still ends up with 2. Now, the next 4 matches, I believe, is that all part of the A block. First, we have Daga taking on Kazuyuki Fujita. Now, of course, Daga, as you all know, I mentioned before, he used to be a junior heavyweight. Now he's jumping into the heavyweight division. Like I said, it's not uncommon. And much like the first match, these two men received their first 2 points. And just like any other match, who's going to be the one to get up ahead? Well, I wasn't too sure, but the one thing that was interesting, as you all know, Daga as a member of Team 200X, and of course he had Yoshitatsu at his corner, you would think that, oh, they're going to pick up the win by cheating. Well, most likely that would have been the obvious scenario for anybody. But unfortunately, Yoshitatsu got taken out by, of course, Fujita, and just like that, Fujita put Daga in a powerbomb. 1, 2, 3, done. So basically, Fujita has currently 4 points, making him also undefeated, leaving Daga at 2. But like I said too about Morris, we'll see how we'll progress with Fujita. Now our next match, well, these two guys, well, they did not have a good start of their tournament. We have Tetsuya Endo and versus Oka Zazaki. So basically, who's going to get their first 2 points in this scenario? I mean, you look at Oka Zazaki, he has great experience as a former MMA fighter. You all know he probably would try to figure things out. But Tetsuya Endo, many of you who may know him, he has been well recognized back in DDT and all that stuff. So basically, that's what he's been doing. But he was able to pick up the win by applying some sort of like a twisty off the turnbuckle and just landed, giving him his first 2 points, leaving him, of course, with 1-1. However, Okazaki, well, he's still up in 0. Now, our next match, we have Masa Kitamiya versus Kaito Kiyomiya. Also, just like the first 2 matches, One of them has to pick up the win. But unfortunately, as you all know, these two men actually know each other very well. Many of you may not know this. These guys used to be buds with Keno, and that kind of sets it up. But however, as Misa Kiyomiya being a member of Team 200X, you know that they will do whatever it takes to pick up the win. And Kiyomiya is determined to try to reach the top. But unfortunately, that didn't do any well for him because, of course, Kiyomiya applied his submission move, and just like that, Kiyomiya had no choice but to tap out. Now, our last match, part of the A block, and this is the semi-main event, we have Kenta versus Manabu Soya. Now, much like day one, these two guys had not had a good opening because they lost their first match. Now, of course, this is one of those moments that either one has to pick up the win because they cannot afford to lose another one as we speak. Now, Kenta, we all know who he is. Many of you know he's a fantastic striker. He is one of the originals of Noah when they first started out, along with Fujimura, with Naomichi, Marifuji, my bad. And of course, you can tell he's a fantastic striker. But when it comes to Manabu Soya, he is also a powerhouse that he will do whatever it takes to take down his opponent. And he was able to do that when he applied the jumping DDT. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, his first 2 points. However, this is the second straight loss for Kenta. This may not look good for him. So the real question is, will he bounce back on day 3? We will just have to wait and see when that happens. Now, our main event, we jump back to the B block. We have Keno taking on Naomichi Marifuji. Many of you know that Keno is one of the toughest SOBs on the planet and a well-decorated wrestler and a former GHC champion. So GHC heavyweight champion. Now he faces the genius of the art, one of the originals of Noah, of course. Many of you may know that. And of course, that sets it up right there for all of us. But the question we ask ourselves, who's going to walk out as the winner? Now, as you know, Marifuji already had his first 2 points by forfeit due to the fact that Ozawa, well, not by forfeit, but by, of course, by circumstances that Osawa was out. But the real question is, can he survive against Keno, knowing Keno is a strong competitor? But in the end, it was, of course, Marifuji that was able to walk away with the win when he applied, of course, an inside cradle. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. So he gets his next 2 points with a total of 4, leaving him undefeated, leaving Keno also with another second straight loss. But we'll see what happens on day 3. But as of right now, we are done with Noah. Let's move on with our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. As always, let's begin with upcoming events. Now, many of you know that GCW's Bloodsport will be making their way to London later on this month on the 28th. They announced 2 names will be mentioned. We have, of course, Chris Ridgway. Many of you may know him from Rev Pro, and if you guys watch Pro Wrestling Noah or any Japanese promotion, that's where he's been. And the next person was, of course, Kev Lloyd. I don't know who he is. So those are the names that have been mentioned for the Bloodsport London event. And then there's, of course, the promotion called ETU, I Really Mean It, that will happen also on the 28th of September. They mentioned Marcus Mathers will take on Space Jesus, Billy Starks. Now on to some very interesting developments. Now, this is something that I think many of you may have heard recently, or not. As you all know, TNA is currently under a partnership with WWE. However, some things have changed because, as you all know, certain wrestlers are loyal to a particular individual, and some people find it very saddened of what happened. As you all know, certain talent in TNA are good people who are loyal to Scott D'Amore, and they love working with him. As you all know, Scott D'Amore, since his departure, reformed Maple Leaf Pro, which is a Canadian-based promotion. However, certain wrestlers for certain time has been appearing in that promotion. Unfortunately, according to what the Wrestling Observer mentioned, they're no longer allowing that to happen. Now, this is what they posted out. Uh, TNA talent is not allowed to work on Scott D'Amore's Maple Leafs wrestling show, even though most of them like D'Amore. The reason is that TNA management considered AEW as an enemy. D'Amore has allowed to book AEW talent. This is no way that decision would be made by anyone in TNA who cared about talent. Basically, show at the top level. TNA is controlled by WWE. Now, of course, what it means in this fashion, there is no possible way that TNA would look at AEW as the enemy. But, however, there are some circumstances they're saying that WWE are probably telling TNA, sorry guys, I can't allow you guys to work with those guys in Maple Leaf because, of course, Scott D'Amore is working with wrestlers from AEW. Now, of course, some people say that the partnership between AEW and TNA was not that good, but D'Amore kind of supports it, saying it worked well enough from his point of view. I know some people would say, that's not true. But that's exactly what has been going on. So that's what I've been hearing. Now, Kyle Fletcher said something that's very interesting on the Ringer Wrestling show. And this is what he said. I think at this point, I'm going to be kicking someone out. I don't know who it is, but it feels it might be coming pretty soon, honestly. Looks like someone is going to be kicked out of the Don Callis family, but who could that be? I mean, some people would think otherwise, but we don't know. We'll just see. Now, many of you know this already. Bea Priestly, since her return to Stardom, you probably question what exactly did they offer her in return. Now, Bea Priestly recently went on to That Sweet Pop with Dion McCracken and Brad Lewis, explained the situation. So, she was talking about how it took only 20 minutes after her departure from WWE that made this happen last February. And this is what she said. When that happened, I almost already had emotional prepared because I'm already self-aware enough to see my own situation. I'm not oblivious to the fact that I wasn't getting booked a lot. There was only so much time that they were going to see how much I'm getting paid on paper, to see how much work I have done, and then kind of like, she's costing us money, then she's actually earning us. So I'm not oblivious to how business works. So when I got the call that I got named as a piece of paper, it's just after the Rumble. They re-signed people into the big contract. They need to make that money back somehow. I think where there were 12 people fired on my cuts, and I think he basically just really like, sorry, due to budget cuts, this and that. I was like, no worries, thanks for the opportunity, and that was it. And I think I ended up calling him, and it wasn't bitter. I was like, I just don't need a big explanation, And I was okay, because on to the next thing. I think Stardom actually reached out 10 minutes after, and I got announced on Twitter. So it only took 10 minutes. Right after it was announced that she was let go from WWE, Stardom just had to go, get on the horn. Hey, B. Hi, this is Toru Kada calling you. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting that happens. And I was like, couldn't believe that it would happen. I mean, many of us would have assumed that maybe she would have gone to AEW, because many of you remember, she was in AEW for a while, but due to the nature of the COVID-19, she was unable to travel. But it's great for her to go back where for her is in it, and I think she's having a fantastic time. I don't know what direction she's going, but I'm sure she's going to enjoy it. Now, our last development, many of you may know her, Yuki Kamifuku, who is one of the wrestlers from Tokyo Super Wrestling. Many of you may know this, that she knows how to speak English. However, you probably ask yourselves, how does she speak English? Well, her dad had to move to Ohio, and she didn't know how to speak English well. And this happened like while she was in junior high school. And this is what she had to say. I couldn't speak English to begin with, and there was racism just for being Asian. During the time I couldn't speak English, I was treated as I had no will. I was treated as less for over a year. And it wasn't until I was able to speak a little English that my existence finally acknowledged. A few friends I made were Filipino and Hispanic, so it was quite the multinational group. So basically, she was able to learn the language by hanging out with people who are not completely, they're from, who are Filipino and Hispanic. Of course, and you probably want to be around people who probably will be not part of that other group. You know what I mean? Not to make it racist and all that, because we do know there's like stuff like that in Ohio. I'm not from the area, but I know how I've been hearing things about that. But yeah, so I'm glad that she was able to make friends, who are who are Filipino and Hispanics. But she does speak well, very English. That's what I can tell you. But there are moments I have seen interviews of her where she kind of struggles a bit, try to say the right word, but yeah. So that's pretty much about her. So I think that's pretty much it. So let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you know, we have AEW Collision. A lot of things is going to take place. Now, I haven't decided yet. Now, however, I was fully aware of the recent World Collides event between AAA and WWE. Due to the reason is because once I was finished whatever I needed to do, I kind of forgot about it, and that's when I started watching Pro Wrestling Noah's N-1 Victory. But I decided, you know what, I'm going to put that on the next episode just to catch up. But we'll see how things will progress. But as of right now, that's pretty much what we have is, of course, the Worlds Collide event and, of course, AEW Collision. So we'll see how things will go. But as of right now, until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.